Welcome back, folks, to San Antonio, Texas, where we have a crosstown matchup between the Our Lady of the Lake Saints and the #1 in Division III Trinity Tigers. Tigers come to this one, as you can see on your screen, with a 15-3 record, coming in on an 8-game win streak. Our Lady of the Lake, of course, competes in the NAIA, apart from the NCAA, and in that competition, they've amassed the record of 16-13. Here is the starting lineup for the Saints now on your screen. It'll be Ty Cook starting on the mound. It'll be his third start of the season for the sophomore. He comes into this one with a 1.84 ERA. He's 0 for 1 and has 1 save. Starting on the mound for the Tigers and looking to improve a slightly inflated 27.00 ERA is Cash Crane. He's made 1 appearance this season in which he retired a batter and walked a batter who came around to score. And if you do the math, it doesn't come out pretty for the sophomore. And that will be on its way down pretty much regardless of what he does here today, as long as he gets out of the first inning. He's taken his last few warm-up pitches. Look at what we can expect from the Saints. They have second-year head coach, Brian Augrey. Last season, he led the Saints to a 25-29 record, 16-11 in conference. Their season ended in defeat after they lost 2 to a couple of ranked opponents in their conference tournament. They compete in the Red River Athletic Conference in the NAIA. And we will discuss more of that later, as it looks like it's going to be TJ Kastner to dig in, the senior, hitting leadoff for the Saints.
Leading off for the Saints, shortstop number 6, TJ Kastner.
Kastner, the Corpus Christi native. Just based off the records being kept on Our Lady of the Lake website, it appears he's a transfer player. Could be incorrect, or I could be misreading it, but based off what I know, he didn't record any stats last year for the Saints. And he's going to get a chance to get on the score sheet here. And
Number 2 slot, right fielder number 29.
instead, he will be headed back to the dugout. Apologies there for the delay. Got a bit confused, but it was a simple play for the Tigers defensively. And there's another out-recorded second of the season for Cash Crane. Had a sporadic first pitch, and the second one hittable for Kastner. And Crane knows he's got a defense behind him that he can trust. He comes set here and delivers. That one's outside. Now facing Matt Mieloff. Mieloff defensively playing right field. Long blonde hair flowing out of the helmet for number 29. He's batting .294 with 5 RBIs so far this season. Must be mentioned, when you're talking about the stats, especially the RBIs for the Saints, you have to consider a majority, maybe not a majority, but a good percentage of their games have been 7-inning games up to this point. And that certainly affects the score sheet for both hitters and pitchers. And this one's going to be chopped. Play to be made here in the infield once again, and it's flipped over to Brandon Caraway playing first. John Tucker now over at third for this one. Had that one wrong on my score sheet. Number 3 is over at bag number 1. So Cash Crane gets a couple of ground balls here to start in the first. He'll be pleased with that. He'll look to make it one more and bring the infamous top of the Tiger order up. He'll be unable to do so as he struggles once again on the first pitch, missing badly. This time it hits Diaz, and Jose Diaz is hit by the only pitch he sees.
Batting fourth, designated hitter number 40, Daniel Enciso.
And that brings up Daniel Enciso, who is hitting .310, and one of a multitude of Saints with 11 RBI so far. just checking on Jose Diaz over at first base. So he was plunked by Crane on the last pitch. Crane notably missing the beard that he's sporting on his roster photo. I have to say it was probably a good decision there for the sophomore. That one's in there, as he's able to find the strike zone for the first time on his first pitch. He's eager to get back to work here. A couple of single digit numbers on the back of the pitchers today. Crane wearing number 8 and Cook wearing number 3. So baseball purists look away as that one fails to find the strike zone. It's 1-1. Here's another ball chopped in the infield, and that's going to be normal. First baseman John Tucker fires across to the deputy, Brendan Caraway, and the Tigers retire 3 of the 4 batters they face, and the Saints leave one on, and we'll see what the Tigers can do coming up in the bottom of the first inning on the Tiger Network.
Bottom of the first inning for the Tigers, leading off second baseman, number 19, Logan Morrison.
And the Tigers due up the top of the order here in the bottom of the first, as Ty Cook has his first offering to Logan Morrison. You got to look over the break at Mark Tyndall in the dugout for this one. He won't be on the mound, most likely after a week's worth of work. The last time these two teams met was April 23rd of last season. Finished 7-2 in favor of the home team, Trinity. And Tyndall went 6 scoreless innings. As the count goes to 2-1. Jake Martin also had a 3-run home run. He's waiting on deck. These two teams, not unfamiliar. They play a couple times a year usually. Last year, both contests went in favor of the Tigers, as they have in recent times. One game played here in both games played in San Antonio. One here at Trinity and one about 6 miles west up at Our Lady of the Lake. And it's going to be a leadoff walk for Logan Morrison. Ty Cook maybe a bit nervous here in the early goings. And here's that man, Jake Martin, we just mentioned. 3-run home run last time these two teams met. Also, last time these two teams met, the Tigers were ranked number 1. Last season, they reached that position on the leaderboard April 29th. And this year, of course, it is April 19th when the Tigers first boast the top spot in Division III. So a little bit of parallelism here across the years. Tigers will, of course, hope to go on to do more than they were able to last year after they had a late season collapse. They went from ranked number 1 to out on the outside looking in of the regional. established. The more I look at those stats, of course, as a first-year announcer, I wasn't following the team then, but the more I look at the stats, it's just outstanding to me that the Tigers weren't selected as an at-large bid. After their entire body of work is examined, it seemed to have been a really successful season overall, just the late struggle. But it gives them something to perhaps get angry about, something to look for here and build off of, as Martin takes another strike. And another chopped ground ball. This could be a chance for them to turn two. They don't look for it. Instead, they just take the fielder's choice and retire Jake Martin running at first. So he does advance the runner, Morrison to second.
Third left fielder, number 1, Rafe Chalmette.
Interesting that TJ Kasner, the shortstop, opted not to try and flip to second and for the easy out at first. And that brings up the formidable Rafe Chalmette, who's got his average back up to 400 on the season after he went 8 for 16 with 9 RBIs over the course of the 4 games last week. He leads the team with 17 RBIs, which is particularly remarkable considering he missed basically 4 games with injury. And this one's going to go off the mound. Chance for him to beat it out here as it's spilled by Casnell. And an infield hit for Rafe Chalmette, and the Tigers have runners on the corners with just 1 down in the bottom of the first. Unlucky defensively for the Saints as that one cannoned off the pitcher's mound.
Batting fourth, center fielder, number 15, Mason Meredith.
Another pause here in the action as it's going to bring up Mason Meredith, who, based off of average, has been the Tigers' second best hitter as well. RBIs also with 16. He's hitting .397. So he's essentially 1 single here from tying up Rafe Chalmette with the runner over on third for the team lead in RBI. After a bit of early season shuffling and with the injury to Rafe Chalmette, it looks like some continuity here has been reestablished at the top of the Tiger lineup. This starting 5 of Morrison, Martin, Chalmette, Meredith, and Goodrich look to be pretty solidified in their spots in the batting order. And I think with that consistency, start to see even bigger numbers being put up by the Tigers offensively as Meredith signals down to third, make sure Morrison doesn't try and come score as that one just scooted away from the man behind the plate, Robert Lopez. Get a good look at Rafe Chalmette wearing the number 1 over at first base. Certainly a threat to run. One of the quicker players on this Tiger roster. The pitch is going to be popped up by Meredith, and that's going to go out into shallow left field, just with his feet on the grass. He was able to make the play. That was TJ Kasner, the shortstop. So 2 down as Meredith
catcher, number 22, Michael Goodrich.
pops out, and there'll be a chance for Michael Goodrich to score the first run of the game. Goodrich, after a slow start to the season, has gotten back up to a .333 average. 3 home runs as well and 16 RBI. Chance to tie the team lead as well for the catcher. First pitch in there for a strike. Both at bats where Cook was able to get an out, he did get that first pitch strike. Similarly, in the first inning, we saw Crane on the mound struggle to get that first pitch strike. And Goodrich quickly down here, 0-2. Chance for Cook to get out of the inning with the runner waiting on third. He's got Goodrich in the hole. fouled straight back. Goodrich able to stay alive. There as Cook adjusts his grip, and it's going to be fouled off once again by Goodrich. Ty Cook, the man on the mound, native of Highlands, Texas, went to Goose Creek Memorial High School. Listed at 6'2", 170. And now you know as much as I do about the right-hander on the mound. And it's going to be another one out into shallow right field this time, and the play is made, and the Tigers go down. They leave 2 on, including the leadoff man Morrison over at third, and the missed opportunity as the Tiger defense takes the field for the top of the second. Digging into the right-hand batter's box now is Matthew Clark. Comes into this one with a whopping .393 average for the first year. He's been a revelation for the Saints, native of San Antonio, graduate of Marshall High School. Also has a home run and 11 RBI. He's out in left field today. He's listed as a catcher/utility. You never know where Clark will be popping up. But with the way he's hitting, he certainly will be popping up every game day for the Saints, somewhere in the lineup. Interesting that he's down hitting number 5 in the order. The way that he's been hitting the ball. Another interesting thing when just going through the stats for the Saints so far this season, they have 20 players with double-digit appearances. So certainly spread out the love in terms of who's getting at-bats, who's getting appearances on the mound. Certainly not as true about a team like the Tigers, who like to stick to the same 10 or so players. As Clark goes down there on the ground out to Wisniewski.
Third baseman number 9, Alec Martinez.
And it brings up Alec Martinez, who's the only Saints player to appear in all of their 29 games so far this season. Across the year, he's amassed a .286 average with 8 RBI. He's also got 6 pitching appearances. He's a infield/right-handed pitcher from Corpus Christi. Quite a few Corpus natives on the Saints roster. And it's going to be another ground ball. This time over to Tucker at third. He makes the throw across the diamond. And there's 2 down quickly here for Cash Crane. Constantly getting ground balls here off the bat of
number 39, Jacob Mitchell.
the Saints. And Jacob Mitchell will look to buck that trend here, else they'll find themselves back in the dugout for the bottom of the second. That one came in just a bit low from Crane. He's only at 17 pitches. A chance here to get out of the inning fairly quickly. He got 2 quick ground outs to start the game as well. And then he hit the third batter that he faced. And there's another ground ball, a chance for the Tiger defense to do their work. And Wisniewski fires across. And it's a quick 1-2-3 inning. All 3 of the Saints go down on ground balls, and the Tigers will look to take their swings coming up in the bottom of the second. It's going to be Brennan Caraway to lead off for the Tigers here in the bottom of the second. Now stationed over at third base defensively for the Tigers. MJ Metz started the season there, and he's been appearing sporadically since. It's going to be Caraway, though. He's hit the ball out into deep center, and the play is made, but good contact there for the Tiger third baseman. Unlucky not to find himself on base.
Batting seventh, third baseman number 4, John Tucker.
That brings up John Tucker. And just to excuse everything I just said, Caraway, of course, playing first base today. Tucker is the third baseman. And a good curveball from Ty Cook finds the strike zone. And another ground ball. It's been the theme of this one so far, as the shortstop Kastner gets the put out, and Tucker returns to the dugout. Jack Vonderar. If there was going to be anyone to buck the ground out trend, it would be him. Somebody likes to make solid contact, and he does get out. It tends to be strikeouts or flyouts. Caraway, the only one who's really hit the ball hard. Shamet's single came off the mound. That's the only hit for either team so far. That one basically in the dirt. Vonderar returning to the lineup in the DH role. He had a stint where he was spelling Rafe Shamet when he was out with injury, and of course, as I say that, it's going to be a ground out for Jack Vonderar. A quick 1-2-3 inning for both teams here in the second, and we'll see if the bats can heat up when we come back around for the top of the third.
catcher, number 22, Robert
Welcome
Lopez.
back for the top of the third inning here on the Tiger Network. After both teams went 3 up, 3 down in the second. It'll be Robert Lopez, the catcher, hitting the number 8 hole today for the Saints to lead off. Crane able to retire all 3 batters in the second on ground outs.
Good, good.
That one came off the ground there before it found Goodrich's mitt. And the umpire will replace the ball for the sophomore on the mound. Sophomore on the mound who notably has had his ERA plummet from 27 coming into this one to 3.8 after recording 6 outs without giving up an earned run. So congratulations to him. Count is now even out. I think it's 2-1 actually. And it's going to be chopped foul. Two and 2 count, confirmed by man in black behind the plate. And the man in gray comes and deals. It's another one chopped foul by Lopez. Tigers wearing full gray uniforms with the white caps, maroon bills. And Crane on the mound opting to go with the white and black stirrup socks. Not the only one that's made that wardrobe choice. And that's going to be his second hit batter, as he had Lopez at 2 and 2. And to lead off the third, he'll be in at least a little bit more difficulty than he was throughout the entirety of the second. Junior catcher now standing on first, listed at 6 foot 230. Probably not the biggest threat to run. Looks can be deceiving though. Here's Ryan Chapa. Who solely based off looks like he would be a threat to run if he were to reach base. Chapa listed at 5'7", 160, and he's fouled that one off his leg. That's a painful one there for the Saints' second baseman. Try to walk this one off. Second baseman very much in the Jose Altuve mold of baseball player. As yeah, you see that one came right off the inside of the ankle, the foot area. Painful for him, but he's going to have to shake it off as he's down 0-2 to Crane, who when he's finding the strike zone has been dealing. Only 2 base runners have been hit by the pitch, and once again Chapa hit by the foul ball off his foot. Looked like he had a bit higher pain tolerance after the first one. Maybe it's still numb. The count is still 0-2. And that one came in low from Crane, not giving him anything to hit. He's out in front in the count like he is now. And that one gets away from Goodrich. And that advances the runner, so Lopez, who may not have been a running threat, is giving a free base now by a bit of a sporadic pitch from Crane, which has been characteristic of his outing so far. And the double play is most likely off, at least the conventional way, which is a shame because he's been getting ground balls very effectively, and there's another one grounded foul straight back, as Chapa's done a fantastic job here of staying alive, shaking off pain of fouling it off of his foot. And he's got a couple foul balls, a couple pitches gone by him. It's a 2-2 dealing here, and he's going to go down swinging just as I say that. That's out number 1 for Cash Crane here in the third. In the first matchup between these two teams last season, speaking of the strikeout, the Tiger pitchers combined for a season-high 17 Ks. So far, it's been the ground ball today. That day, that was March 6th in the 4-2 victory for the Tigers. It was all about the strikeout. And the Tiger seniors, I believe, got the start. And the bullpen helped him finish it out with a total of 17 Ks across the 3 of them. Crane again struggling on the first pitch offering. That one came in inside against Kastner. Kastner's been busy defensively for the Saints. He's got a couple of putouts in the last inning. And also had a pop fly that he brought in the first. Where's the number 6? And he plays the number 6. There's another one that he fouls off of himself. Saints can't get out of their own way here. As Kastner takes the sign from his third base coach. Potential to maybe look to move the runner here. The senior has 15 RBI and he leads the team in that category, so he'll be looking to do it himself. And he'll have to do it from behind in the count, now 1-2. The 2-strike offering here from Crane is going to be out into right field. It was brought in, and that is the second out of the third inning. Chance for the unconventional double play after the lineout was on as we get a look at what exactly went down. It was a good play made by Morrison, who tried to catch the runner off guard by spinning around and throwing to the covering Wisniewski. Lopez was either aware or hadn't got off the base quick enough. Either way, he's still over at second base, and the Saints are still hitting. So that'll bring up Matt Mialoff, right fielder for Our Lady of the Lake. And Goodrich takes that one off the backstop. But Lopez has now advanced 2 bases on some sporadic pitching by Cash Crane. He's now poised over at third base to perhaps score if there's another one of the pass balls or wild pitches that we've seen so far. Crane can focus in though with 2 outs. I'm just trying to retire the batter here. That one's in there for a strike. But the way the Tiger defense has been playing so far and the difficulty that the Saints have had in hitting the ball hard, if you're Crane, you really just want to try and hit the strike zone, as he's unable to do so there. He's behind in the count 3-1. When he has been able to put the ball in the strike zone, he's gotten strikes, and he's also just gotten fairly simple dribblers out to Wisniewski, Morrison, Tucker, and they've all obliged in getting the out for him. And that's pretty much the same pitch that he just threw, and that's 4 balls in the at-bat. So Mialoff will take his position at first, and there'll be runners on the corners here as we have a quick mound visit for the home team. Of course, it's not head coach Tim Scanlon. So probably not a pitching change here for the Tigers. They'll look to see how much they can get out of Crane. It's his first career start in a Tiger uniform. And the Tigers need one more out here to get out of the third inning. Still tied at 0. Our Lady of the Lake still yet to record a hit. Their 4 base runners have come from, their 3 base runners have come from a walk and 2 hit batters. Jose Diaz, the victim of the first hit batter in the first inning. He's only seen 1 pitch. And he saw it cannon off of his back. He's hitting .315 with 12 RBIs. A threat here to bring in the runner at third. And much more comfortable first pitch there for Diaz. That said, he falls behind in the count 0-1. And that one finds the outside corner. An excellent pitch for Crane. And he's drawing on whatever that meeting would have been about at the mound. Looking to get Diaz maybe on 3 pitches here. Runner going at second. And he'll be safe. There's a bit of indecision at the plate for Goodrich, who fielded the ball that had bounced in front of him and had to make sure that Lopez wasn't going to come from third and try and score. So now runners at second and third, and a single from Diaz here would likely score them both. But one more strike from Crane, and the Tigers are out of the inning unscathed. Another one that gets away from Goodrich. We'll see. Looks like no action on the base pass. The count's now even at 2. And after 2 excellent pitches to start the at-bat, there's been 2 that have gotten away from him. And this has been the story of Cash Crane on the mound so far in his first start as a Trinity Tiger. This one does get away from Goodrich. We'll see if Lopez comes in, and he does come in to score after the ball was stuck, I think, in the chain link fence behind in the ground rule. Allowed the big catcher to come on home. He's certainly obliged. And you hear the excitement from Our Lady of the Lake's dugout. Miloff also advancing to third. And the Saints take the lead in the top of the third, excuse me. And there he is, goes down swinging. And that just shows you the importance of finding Goodrich's mitt for Crane. When he has found the strike zone, he's been very successful. And he gets Diaz down swinging. So the Tigers will be behind here when they come up in the bottom of the third after Our Lady of the Lake strikes first.
Bottom of the third inning for the Tigers.
Welcome me back here for the bottom of the third in San Antonio. Our Lady of the Lake able to strike first on a series of wild pitches by Cash Crane in the top of the third. Should be no surprise, though, that the Saints are able to get on the board in the first 3 innings. They've outscored their opponents 63-8 in innings 1 through 3 this season. It's not to say they haven't won the battles in most innings. The only inning across the season they've trailed in is the 4th and the 8th as well. But like I said, the majority of their games only go 7 innings. It's been the first 3 where they've been particularly strong. Number 3 on the mound appears to be dealing for the Saints. That's no surprise. He came into this one with a 1.84 ERA. And after surviving an early scare in the first, which saw Logan Morrison stranded over at third, he's actually retired 5 straight. Wisniewski looks to end that streak, down 1-2 in the count. Wisniewski and the Tiger infield been busy defensively, looking to get busy at the plate here. Count runs even. And here's a good solid contact made by Jack Wisniewski. He's going to get into the gap. He's going for second. We'll see if he rounds second. He's going to stand up at second. So leadoff double for the number 2 for the Tigers. And that's exactly what they would have asked for, looking to get back into this one, falling behind in the top of the third. It's the Tigers' second hit, their first time through the order. Shamet had the single that came off the mound. And after a 7-game hitting streak, Wisniewski had struggled last week against Dallas, not recording a single hit. And he's back on the board now, back at home, looking to start a new streak. Brings up the top of the order. It's the Temecula, California native Logan Morrison. Senior is batting .327, has a home run and 10 RBI, 17 runs scored, majority of his time spent at the top of the Tiger order. It's a couple of stolen bases as well. And a big afternoon in the final game of the series against Dallas. Went 3 for 4, scored 3 runs. One of those hits, solo home run. So the Tiger leadoff man comes into this one in fine form. He walked, so officially gets to record an at-bat. Cook unable to find the strike zone once again against the Tigers' second baseman. The home plate umpire there brushes off the plate, and we're ready to get back underway. Morrison, some practice swings. Ty Cook likes what he sees from his catcher, and he comes and deals. It's an excellent curveball that finds the bottom of the strike zone. We've seen that a couple of times from Cook. Quite a bit of movement on the breaking ball. Battery for the Saints comes to an agreement, and Cook comes home. And he's found the outside corner with precision there. And that brings the count to 2-2. Morrison now in a bit of a different situation. Those are the first 2 strikes he's seen in this game. And he puts the bat to ball here, and it's going to be brought in by the Saints second baseman. Wisniewski does extremely well to be aware and not get doubled up. So Morrison lines out. And that brings up Jake Martin. Martin had a 3-run home run in his last appearance against Our Lady of the Lake. Senior from Edmond, Oklahoma, digs in. Wisniewski on second, and a dog barking in the background. Morrison went and had himself quite a series, got 5 hits. And in those 5 hits, 2 home runs against Dallas. So Martin coming up on the team lead, which is 3 with Michael Goodrich. Discussion here, I think, about the dog. And he's barking in between pitches. And I know I was certainly startled, but I'm not the one out there on the mound. Cook also appears to be a bit distressed. And head coach Brian Ari also involved in the conversation. Somebody needs to take that puppy on a walk. Looks like Cook is ready now. Free from distractions. Just him and Jake Martin. And he's able to find the inside corner of the plate. He's done extremely well to find that first pitch strike with regularity. And Martin, another big cut. I mentioned a couple of home runs on the weekend. This one is going to get just out of play into the Tiger bullpen. And it appears I may have fabricated the whole situation with the dog, as I think they were discussing why Wisniewski advanced to third. Why he advanced to third, I am equally clueless. See, looks like a balk was called, according to the official stat sheet. If you want to keep up with that, just head to stats.statbroadcast.com. If not, I'll try to keep you updated myself. But the official ruling on Wisniewski advancing to third was a balk. Which is a bit more understandable as to why Cook would be upset. Maybe he's just more of a cat guy. I don't know. Martin here, down to the count 1-2. And that one's popped up. Another one going foul. And this one will also get out of play. Tigers right fielder staying alive. I'd like nothing more than to add to his 12 RBI with Wisniewski waiting on third. The Tigers have already left a runner on third. The Saints were able to score theirs, and that's a shot sent down the left field line. But well foul for Martin. That's 4 straight foul balls for the senior. Just the one down here in the bottom of the third. Pitch comes in extremely high for Cook. Rafe Shamet waits on deck for the Tigers if Martin is able to do anything here. Of course, just the one gone. That's his 6th straight foul ball as he looks to stay alive. And that one, a bit too much movement, breaks off of the plate for Cook. And the count runs full. This has been an excellent at-bat for the Tigers right fielder. We'll be looking to cap it off by reaching base. He's, I think, faced at least 12 pitches. And that one is in there, and the commentator's curse comes to be for Martin as he goes to take a seat. It was an excellent job to stay alive as long as he did. The Tigers will now have to rely on their superstar, Rafe Shamet, to try and bring the tying run home. It waits over on third base in the form of Jack Wisniewski. He reached with a leadoff double to start the inning. Shamet, one of the few left-handed batters in this usual Tiger lineup. Something different to face for Cook. Shamet joins Wisniewski as the only Tigers with hits on the day. Rafe's was the single that cannoned off on the mound in the first. And this is going to be popped up. It looks to be playable for the Saint outfield, and it is. The Tigers, for the second time in this one, leave a runner stranded on third. Shamet's unable to produce there for the home team. And the Tigers will be back playing defense here in just a moment on the Tiger Network. I'll be joined now for the fourth inning by Josh Moxigimba. As the Saints are back up to bat here. They still have the lead, courtesy of a couple of wild pitches from Cash Crane back in the third. Saints leading without recording a hit so far. And the Tiger sophomore still out there on the mound. Believe the run goes down as unearned, so his ERA continues to plummet.
Yeah, he's done well here. A couple of solid innings and really helped Trinity. Tuesday games, you're looking to find somebody who's typically a bullpen guy that can come in and eat up innings, kind of save the rest of your starters for those weekend series. And it also gives the bullpen a couple of opportunities to come in situations that maybe they're not accustomed to, but at the same time, give them a chance to get some live innings in against a team that they haven't seen before, or at least the guys that they're not seeing every day.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a good example of what Crane has offered so far with the strikeout. He's recorded all of his outs either on the ground or 3 Ks so far for the sophomore. Matthew Clark came into this one extremely hot, hitting .393. He grounded out over to Wisniewski in the second inning. And again, that's the third hit batter for Crane, who's probably going to get a warning here. He's been sporadic to say the least. He's been good when he's found the strike zone, and when he hasn't, he's been extremely off. I think in that you see maybe the working of a future starter for the Tigers who just hasn't quite put it all together yet.
Yeah, they like Crane's potential. He's mid to high 80s. That one is belted into left field. And so if you've got a guy that can throw mid to high 80s, you've got a potential to do something. Division III level, you see a lot of guys hovering around anywhere from 84 to 86. Anything over 86 is probably going to be just a touch special. And then, you know, of course, you definitely will have a couple of guys that will start to hit 90s on occasion. Trinity's got a few guys. But what you really want to do is you want to find somebody that can touch 90, but also be somewhat consistent with their strike zone. And that's pretty hard to find. So,
Yeah, absolutely. As much as baseball is a game of statistics and quantifiable things like that, sometimes it's the mental game for the pitcher and finding that consistency. When we've seen Crane dealing, particularly back in the second when he recorded 3 outs and like 8 pitches, I believe, all ground outs, he looked lights out. He looked like he'd be the Tigers' ace. And I feel like just a bit of doubt maybe creeps into his head as these hit batters and these walks continue to add up for him. And there's the first hit for the Saints just recently as well. So it's going to be a mental battle now for the sophomore in his first ever start. It's going to be a chance to show what he's made of here on the mound.
yeah, and talk about the fact that guys can come in and pitch in a situation they're not accustomed to. And also, for some guys, it takes off a lot of pressure. So if you're a guy that's normally coming in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, maybe in some close games, and now you're starting a game and you're coming out there in the second inning and it's still 0-0 or, you know, it's still early going, it changes the way some guys like to pitch. Oh, let's fall back. So it gives them an opportunity to approach their position of attack from a different point. And you see some guys who have been very good out of the bullpen starts to look really good as a starter because they get into a comfort level that they just start to cruise. And we've seen Crane kind of doing that. I mean, 1 hit through 4 innings. He has hit a couple of batters and he's walked a few as well. But other than that, he's throwing pitches that you would expect a guy who's normally a short inning type of a guy to come in and throw. He's looking to get a lot of swing and misses because normally when Crane comes in, he's got somebody on base.
Yeah, a good example of that was Jeff Loneker back in the Babson series. Traditional reliever for the Tigers came in and went 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits and just 1 earned run. So that's an example of a more experienced pitcher, no doubt, but somebody who's more comfortable coming out of the bullpen, feeling good on the day, and going enough to get the win in that one for the Tigers. Count runs full now for Mitchell. Big pitch here for Crane, and he'll have to wait as Mitchell calls time. The runners on first and second. You're just 1 ground ball away from getting out of the inning, but you're also 1 single away from finding yourself further in the hole and maybe out of the game if you're the man on the mound. And he narrowly misses there, and he's walked the bases loaded. That's a pitch that looked like Mitchell was probably taking all the way. Because if I'm out there with the bat in my hand, it looks very good to me.
And so we'll get pitching change here for Crane. He'll be responsible for the 3 left on base. And I'd say a pretty effective outing. I think if you're the Tigers coaching staff, you're pretty happy with what Crane was able to come in and give you. As it looks like it'll be Matt Thomas to come in and get some work. We'll see if Thomas can roll the ground ball for a double play here. But as far as Crane goes, I mean, don't have the official stats on him. The run that he gave up earlier was given to him as an earned run, I believe, because the run came across on what they're going to call a wild pitch. The ball hit the dirt before it got to the catcher, so they're going to give that a wild pitch. But from the standpoint, Crane obviously with 4 wild pitches, but he also had 3 strikeouts. He faced 16 batters.
I think it's just the fact that the 4 wild pitches came all in the 1 inning, and they allowed the run to come around and score. If those are more spread out, it's probably not even a talking point for the sophomore as he heads to the bench. And now they loom large because they have the run tallied up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and if you're Trinity right here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to limit the damage. If the Saints come across and score a run, maybe even 2 here, it's not ideal. But what you don't want to do is have Thomas come up here and struggle to get outs. If you can trade a run for an out and get out of here with only giving up 2 runs, hopefully less for Tiger fans, then that puts you in a pretty good situation. The Tigers still hit the ball very well, and so even though it's been low scoring to this point, you expect the bats to come alive at some point. And you just kind of work your way from there. What you can't do is have Thomas come up here and start walking a few guys or, being inconsistent and wild, or just start serving up the ball and allowing Our Lady of the Lake to just continue to circle the bases.
Lopez was hit by a pitch his first time up. Coming to this one, he just has the 1.47 batting average. Big chance for him now. He scored the run. Chance to get his teammates across the plate here with the bases loaded. Goodrich has no idea where the ball is. Luckily for him, it's right underneath him. Otherwise, another run could have come across to score there. Talking with a couple of the baseball players I have in class throughout the week, they expected maybe Thomas was going to get the start here today. Chance for him, though, now in relief. It's his 5th appearance so far this season. He does have a start. He's got a total of 6 2/3.
Yeah, I don't know how many pitchers Trinity's willing to go through tonight. But if Thomas throws another ball right here, as the count goes to 3-1, would not be surprised. You'd see it on a weekend series for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to go through the pen. Tuesday games are quite a bit different, just the mentality, the approach that you take, because normally they're one-off games. That was a beautiful pitch from Thomas, coming with the high heat. But they're one-off games. They're not series. They're not, typically, they're not going to typically be conference games. So Tuesday games give you an opportunity to kind of experiment around with your team, and if you wanted to see what something's happening, and he's going to get the called strike 3.
I think that's absolutely the right call from the umpire. Lopez tried to sell it by flipping the bat towards the dugout, and he'll go retrieve the bat and take a seat with it as the Saints are now down 2 outs with the bases still loaded, and it's Chapa who struck out his first time back in the 3rd.
Yeah, a great job there from Matt Thomas, who comes in, fires 3 straight balls, and then able to come back, fight his way back at the strikeout. Those are the big type of pitches that he's going to have to come up with that we haven't seen so far this year. He struggled early on, a couple of early starts that didn't quite pan out his way, and he came in relief and gave up a couple of runs. And when we say it's time for the coaching staff to experiment around with some different things, it's also a time for the players to kind of come in and zero in and focus on, it's a low-pressure game. I know that typically the idea is to go out there and win every game, but with this being an NAIA opponent, there's a lot of factors in playing a game like this that allow you to do different types of things. And a good opportunity for a lot of these guys who have been, maybe struggling to find the command of the pitches that they want, or the ability to come in and be on top of their game like they feel like they are in practice. Because obviously Thomas has looked good in practice. Otherwise, the Tigers wouldn't continue to go to Thomas the whole time. And he looks good here as he comes in, faces two batters, and strikes them both out. And that'll help Crane keep everything down low. So a fantastic job from Matt Thomas in the fourth. And Tigers still looking to get those bats going as we go to the bottom half.
So it'll be Ty Cook still out there on the mound for the Saints in the bottom of the fourth. He's been very successful so far, limiting the Tigers to just the 2 hits. Stranded a couple of runners over on third, back in the third and in the first. Have to face Mason Meredith here, who leads off for the Tigers. Goodrich due up on deck as well. Meredith, one of those who had the opportunity to get an RBI and now get an opportunity to run the bases as a pitch cannons off his back. He popped out to the shortstop the first time. And Goodrich, who's up to bat now, popped up to the second baseman.
Goodrich, who over the last 10 games or so has really turned his season around. He's struggling early on. He's been on fire as of late. At one point was batting at a 600 clip for about 8 games over a span. A couple of home runs on the season already for Tiger backstop. A comfortable 328 average.
Tigers team average is at 311 so far, which is pretty remarkable. They also score about 8 runs a game. It was exactly 8 runs a game. Our Lady of the Lake somewhere around 4 to 5. And of course, playing in different divisions, playing certainly different opponents. Those stats are only comparable to some degree, as that's another look over at Meredith. Looks certainly concerned with the Tiger center fielder on first, as he should be. He is a threat to go.
It was close on Meredith, but I think he just got back.
He's got 4 stolen bases already this season. But if nothing else, Meredith is occupying some space here in the head of the pitcher. And this one's going to be popped up again for Goodrich. We'll see if it stays in play. Yeah, I don't think it will. It's going to be foul ball. And an 0-2 count for the Tiger catcher. This will be the 50th pitch for Ty Cook. He's been very efficient so far. He needs to start getting outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Another one fouled. Straight back for Michael Goodrich, who, if nothing else, would like to advance Meredith here in what has been up to this point a low-scoring ball game.
It was an interesting thing. I mean, Meredith took off on the first pitch, which means that it was a hit and run, or at the very least it was given the green light to be a hit and run situation. And I think Goodrich is the type of a hitter that you feel comfortable with. Him. Sees the ball well, can at least get something on it, and when you've got Meredith, I think you're willing to take the stolen base attempt. So even if Goodrich comes up and misses, you've still got an opportunity to turn it into a runner in scoring position without it being too much trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Goodrich has seen 7 pitches here, and he's put the bat on the ball all 7 times. And they've all 7 gone foul. So you get a look at the signs alongside the Tiger catcher there. Something to the effect of, please don't strike out. As they continue to throw over to first.
And I think right now, this situation that could eventually favor Meredith. If you get enough throws over, eventually he'll probably throw one away, or at least that's the hope.
That one, finally a ball comes in for Goodrich. Lopez came up looking to fire down to first as well. Meredith proving, if nothing else, a nuisance over there on first after taking the free base on the hit batter. I think Cook has thrown over to first as many times as he's thrown home here in this at bat. If not, it's close.
Yeah, it's not charted in the pitch count, but it's a roller into the hole, deep into the hole. It's going to be an infield single for Goodrich. So after all of that, Goodrich will lay out an infield single. Very nice job.
Yeah, great at bat for the Tiger catcher. He made contact 8 times total. He finally straightened one out and found just a slight gap in the infield. Wasn't hit hard at all, but it did the job. And the Tigers have a couple aboard with nobody out, looking to finally get the bats going in the bottom of the 4th. It's going to be Brendan Caraway, who looks to maybe bring somebody home here. Junior.
I can see them throwing down a very late bunt here, too.
And good call from you there, Josh. They're going to look to advance the runners, and the throw goes out into the outfield. It could be a play at the plate here. It could be a play at third base. There will be neither, but there will be a tie game here in San Antonio as the excellent bunt laid down by Brendan Caraway forces the air and forces the run across.
Batting 7th, third baseman number 4, John Tucker.
Not only that, there's still nobody out here. So we get a replay of exactly what happened. It was the pitcher Cook that fielded it.
Yeah, he had probably just a split second to set his feet. Even if he doesn't get the out there, he's still got bases loaded with the force plays. But he just didn't set his feet in time, and that allowed everybody to continue on as the throw just drifted away from the third baseman.
And didn't miss by much, but missed by enough to allow the run to score.
First and third for the Tigers is wait for the scoreboard to update that gets generated by the live stats. So I'm sure here it'll work itself out for Tucker.
Yeah, I think they're deciding, as I was trying to decide when looking down at my score sheet, whether they're going to give Caraway a single there, and then the throwing here that allowed the run to score, or something entirely different.
Yeah, they might be trying to decide whether or not it's just a fielder's choice and an error, or if it's basically 2 errors. And so not an easy decision for sports information department to have to make, but Justin Parker and Bree Davis back there, I'm sure they'll get it sorted before too long.
For now, it'll be John Tucker at the plate for the Tigers offensively. He saw himself off to an incredibly hot start to the season, and he's cooled off since. Big opportunity here for him to rediscover that form. And the official scoring on that bunt was a fielder's choice, and he received the sacrifice. And then Goodrich advanced to second, and the run scored on a throwing error by the pitcher, which of course ironically means it's unearned.
So I don't know if this is a change or just a mound meeting. It's a double play away from getting out of the bottom of the fourth, so I would imagine just a mound meeting. But going back to Tucker's at bat, one of the things that we saw was a big swing and a miss for strike 3. And I mean, your Tucker, he started off hitting near 600 for the first 2 games of the year. And then it's been just slowly down from there, and that'll actually be it for Cook. So fantastic job. He'll be responsible for the 2 runners on, but I think both Crane and Cook, I mean, coming in, giving you 3+ solid innings. Fantastic job for guys who are not normally in that role. But for Tucker, we saw that big, huge hack on the 2-2 fastball, and one of the things when you're not able to get base hits is just start to work on just putting the ball into play and forcing everybody to make the plays around you. So even if you don't get the hit, sometimes the easiest way to get back into, get out of a slump is to just try to put the ball into play. And once you start finding your way onto base, or you start finding an opportunity to bring a run home or something like that, those sort of things just start to build up a little bit of confidence. Because where Tucker's missing is he's just slightly off. And it's and that's the difference between a guy being able to hit 350 and a guy that's hitting 215. And it's just fractions of timing. And so it's just a kind of an unfortunate situation being a senior and going into a slump like this. And so because then you start to feel the pressure of, I've only got 20 games left. I've only got 22 at this point, 21, whatever it's going to be. And then trying to you start to put extra pressure on yourself and everything else. I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just saying those are some of the situations that start to happen that we have seen here at Trinity, or at least that I've seen in the past 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw Tucker thought maybe he was going to get out of his slump after he had a big home run a couple of weeks ago. It seems like that wasn't the spark that he needed. He'll look to get back hitting next time up. It'll be Vondraar now. Runners on the corners and 1 out. Big hit here from taking the lead. And a ground ball away from being out of the inning for Ryan Ramsey, traditionally an outfielder for the Saints. He's come on in relief, wearing the number 23. He's been converted into a pitcher so far this season. It's his 7th appearance. He's got a 2-1 record and a 5.03 ERA. He's pitched 19 2/3 so far. See, I don't think they'll be looking to get too much out of him, particularly just to get out of this 4th. But their situation entirely different, even from Trinity's. Just a trip down the road, but a trip across divisions, NAIA versus NCAA D3. And it's a double play ball, exactly what Ramsey would have wanted, and he gets it. And the Tigers will head back out onto the field, even here at 1, after Meredith came around to score on the throwing error by Ty Cook. We'll be back with you in a moment here on the Tiger Network. Matt Thomas continues on the mound for the Tigers after coming in relief in the fourth with the bases loaded after Cash Crane walked Jacob Mitchell. And Thomas did excellently, striking out both Lopez and Chapa to get out of the jam. This one is going to be a play here for the Tiger infield. And some real speed shown by the Saints shortstop there, Castner, to beat out the throw. And the leadoff hitter is aboard for Our Lady of the Lake.
Wish I could be that, but oh man, you're right.
Number 2 slot, right fielder
Number 6 there showed some wheels in blue. Mile off. Now set to dig in, left-handed batter from Conroe, Texas.
Crush. Definitely not like a crush.
And a pitch high, wide, and not so handsome there for Michael Thomas, who we saw go down 3-0 in a count. The bases loaded, the pressure on him, come back to strike out Robert Lopez. Maybe he just likes to put himself in a hole. There's a runner going here, and they picked a good pitch to do it on, as the curveball gave Goodrich really no chance against the speed. On board in the name of TJ Kastner. It was a good throw down from Goodrich, but with the breaking ball, he was really never going to be able to gun down the Saint speedster. So Mihailoff will look to lay down the bunt and advance the runner to third. He's going. There's no force play. And Thomas takes his time and does well to secure the first out. And it's some good small ball here, so to speak, from the Saints, as they've advanced the runner over to third, just the one batter. And the sac bunt has TJ Kastner in pole position to restore the Saints' lead here in the fifth. Jose Diaz, who's been hit by a pitch and then failed to hit a pitch when he struck out in the fourth. This one in the dirt from Thomas. Diaz's strikeout ended the third in a similar situation with the runner on third. Something bizarre would have to happen for the run, or excuse me, the inning to end here with Diaz at the plate. The big curveball finds the strike zone that time for Matt Thomas. Counterpart, Josh has gone off to try and fix the white balancing on some of the cameras for you guys as we transition here into the night game on Trinity's campus. Tigers, a vast majority of their season will be played here on campus. Just a few road trips, really. I think it's less than 10 road games in the entire season for the Tigers. Of course, one of those occurred over the course of the last week when they went over to face Dallas up in North Texas. Swept the Crusaders. Scores of 10-4, 9-2, and 10-5. And that kicked off SCAC play as Thomas throws away a 2-strike count. And that is another hit by pitch. And the numbers for those on both sides, particularly for Tiger pitching, is staggering here, considering we're only in the fifth. It's 4 already for the Tiger pitchers and a couple as well for the Saints. So only 4 hits so far for either team. But plenty of base runners have gotten aboard. There's a runner here. Goodrich throws is low. It bounces in. He had to be careful not to overthrow it with the runner waiting on third. And that was as much as a courtesy throw from the Tiger backstop. And it's going to be head coach Tim Scannell here to have a discussion with Matt Thomas, with runners now on second and third with just the one out. And Cisco is the batter. He's hitting .310 with 11 RBI. He'll hope that number 12 and number 13 are 90 and 180 feet away. And Matt Thomas there, the man with the ball, will look to send him back to the dugout. He's wearing the stirrup socks as well. Yet another edition of Tiger pitchers wearing not only the stirrup socks, but the single-digit numbers. Thomas wears the number 6. And there was a breaking ball that just broke too much for the man on the mound. And it's a 2-0 count here. Matt Thomas has to be careful not to issue yet another free base. First base is open, but in such a close game, you want to limit runners as much as you can. And there's another one that misses high and wide, and the 3-0 count. And runners on second and third. You wonder how hard you try to find the strike zone here if you're Matt Thomas. Unfortunately, the Saints' best hitter waits on deck, and he tries and does find the strike zone. Saints' best hitter in Matthew Clark waits on deck. Came into this one hitting .393. And he poses a threat over in the on-deck circle. Thomas would like the liberty to retire Clark in whichever way he pleases, and he'll only do that if he's able to come back from 3-0 down to get an out here like he did in the previous inning when he came in relief. And he finds the bottom of the strike zone there, so the count runs full for Danielle and Cisco. Is in as a designated hitter for moments like this. Full count offering is in there for called strike 3, and Cisco tried to sell it, and he's having a conversation with the umpire on his way back to the dugout. But that's a huge strikeout for Matt Thomas as he looks to dig himself out of the hole that he created. Enough to get one more out here against Clark, who has grounded out and was hit by a pitch, stranded on third base in the previous inning. Any out will do for Thomas. He's won himself that liberty coming from down 3-0 in the count to get the strikeout. Second time he's done that already. Gets the first pitch strike this time, so that won't be the case again. Thomas comes and deals inside. And Clark did well to evade that one. Clark, one of many Saints choosing to go with the stirrup sock look as well. Very classic blue uniforms for Our Lady of the Lake. And the 1-1 offering is going to be sent foul. These are big pitches in the overall course of this matchup. Of course, just a one-off. The Tigers have played a majority of their games in series format, and they had the Cortland series shortened to 2, but besides that and the one Tuesday game they had last week, every other game has been in a series of 3, and I think that suits Tiger pitching, as that one is unable to find the strike zone. It'll be a 2-2 count here with 2 outs and 2 on. When you add this Tuesday game in, like Josh was talking about earlier, you're trying to find guys to contribute for you on the mound. Perhaps you aren't used to relying on. In this case, it's Matt Thomas, who's let the count run full once again. Tiger Jr. likes to feel the pressure on himself. So far, he's come good. See if he's able to do so once again against Matthew Clark. First base is open if he misses. And he doesn't. He gets yet another called strike 3. Clark's not happy as he throws the bat over towards the dugout in disgust. But a couple of big full count strikeouts for Matt Thomas on the mound. And he gets himself out of the jam that he created. And it'll be a chance for the Tigers to utilize that and get themselves back in front in the bottom of the 5th in just a moment.
Bottom of the 5th inning for the Tigers, batting ninth, shortstop number 2, Jack Wisniewski.
Be Wisniewski up to lead off once again for the Tigers. He led off in the 3rd and was able to get one of the Tigers' 3 hits with a big double into the gap in left center. Certainly would not mind another one of those from the Tigers' shortstop. Tigers were unable to bring him around in that inning as the top of the order went 1-2-3. They're facing a new pitcher, though, in Ryan Ramsey, the converted outfielder. Seen significant time on the mound for the Saints this season. This is his 8th appearance. And he comes and deals, and it's going to be another shot into the outfield for Wisniewski. He's going to go 2 here, and it's another leadoff double for Jack Wisniewski, who's producing from the 9 spot. He's got a couple of doubles, and the Tigers will look to take better advantage this time than they did in the 3rd with the top of the order. Logan Morrison has got a walk and a line out as well. You'd certainly fancy one of the Tigers' first 3 batters in the lineup to be able to bring Wisniewski home. We've already seen one example of them unable to do so. And it's going to be a spin around and throw, and they're going to have Wisniewski in a rundown. And I believe they got him. They did. So they caught Wisniewski leaning a bit too far off the bag, and that's a seriously unfortunate and unforced error for the Tigers running the base paths. So there's now 1 down and nobody on in the 5th. That's a mistake that's particularly going to hurt the Tigers in a close game like this, where that 1 run theoretically could have been the winning run. The way the pitchers have seemed to have been able to find their way out of jams so far. And there was no difference between the 2 first offerings from Ryan Ramsey there, but one was a ball and one was a strike for our home plate umpire. So Wisniewski 2 leadoff doubles, and nothing has come of either one. That time it was of his own accord, being thrown out on the base path. Ramsey's now got 3 outs on 10 pitches after getting the double play after coming in the 4th. Can't ask for much more from a guy who's transitioning into life on the mound. That one is going to be inside, and it'll be another chance with a runner on as Morrison draws his 2nd walk. That's why he's the leadoff man for this Tiger team. He gets on base. And it'll be Jake Martin who grounded into a fielder's choice in the 1st and struck out, I believe, looking in the 3rd after he had worked an extremely good at bat. Faced 12+ pitches. He'll look to have a bit more of an end product here with Morrison over on 1st. This one's going to be into left center, and it's certainly playable for the outfield, and they send Jake Martin back to the dugout. It'll be Rafe Schmidt to look to extend the inning here in the 5th.
Batting third, left fielder number 1, Rick Showman.
Schmidt had an excellent week. Across the 4 games, hit .500 on 16 at-bats with 9 RBI. He's found his way back into full force in this Tiger lineup. 1 for 2 today with a single off the mound in the 1st. And, you know, the Tigers found production from elsewhere while he was out, but he's certainly one that you want to have in the lineup at all times. It's a big defensive play made over at second base. That was Ryan Chapa able to get the put out against the Tigers center left fielder. What am I saying? Rafe Schmidt as he heads to the dugout now, and this score remains even. Tied up at 1 here in San Antonio. It'll be Matt Thomas back out there to see what kind of mess he can get himself into and then out of. It's a Houdini escape act for the Tiger Jr. after he continuously worked to a full count, with the bases loaded in the 4th and 2nd and 3rd of his own accord that time in the 5th. I'd like to keep it entertaining for the fans here in San Antonio. He's got a couple of big strikeouts, 4 since coming in. And he seems to have found a bit of a rhythm coming out here in the 6th, facing Alec Martinez as a single and a ground out. That one well outside for Thomas. It's a big swing and a miss there from Martinez as the breaking ball had all kinds of action. It'll be 2-2 against the 3rd baseman for the Saints. That one just barely misses, and it's another full count, which is where so far Matt Thomas has thrived. And not this time, as he misses and loses the leadoff batter there. He'll be over at first.
Batting seventh, first baseman number 39, Jacob Mitchell.
Brings up first baseman number 39, Jacob Mitchell. Came to this one hitting .246. Has a walk and a ground out. Interestingly enough, the only 1-2-3 inning for both teams came in the second, when nobody could reach base for either team. Game's had a good pace about it. It hasn't had a lot of hitting to it, though. And that's been as much due to the good pitching as it has to the bad. There's been hit by pitches and walks to boot so far in this one. Mixed bag from everyone that's taken the mound so far. Thomas down here, 2-0 in the count. And it's going to be a ball off the mound. Play could be made here. Could be a double play. Could be a huge double play for the Tigers. And they do get it. What an excellent job from Logan Morrison to turn that one all by himself as he fielded the ball off the mound. I believe it might have been a barehanded grab from the second baseman. We'll get another look at it as soon as we can.
Catcher number 22, Robert Lopez.
And it was a flip from Wisniewski. The bare hand snag and throw across the diamond as the middle infielders combined to great effect there for the Tigers. That's huge for Matt Thomas. As Mitchell loses 2 outs for his team with 1 swing of the bat. And as the 20th double play executed by this Tiger defense. Coming to this, they had 19, and that was 5th in the nation. So particularly the middle infielders' defense has been excellent so far for the Tigers. Usually it's Martin and Wisniewski. It is again tonight, and they showed why they have those starting spots. Combining excellently there. Other stats to note nationally, James Natoli, Tiger pitcher, is tied for first with 5 wins so far. Senior Jeff Loneker is 13th in saves with 3. And Jake Martin is 8th in runs with 23 in his column. Tigers have a huge series coming up this weekend. We hope you'll join us here on the Tiger Network as they play host to Texas Lutheran University, who come in ranked number 8. And I'm pretty sure it'll be strike 3 there for Matt Thomas as he continues to rack up the Ks. And we'll talk more about that TLU series coming up. And we'll see the Tiger bats hopefully come alive in the bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Bottom of the 6th inning here in San Antonio. Trinity and Our Lady of the Lake knotted at 1. It'll be Mason Meredith 0 for 1 to lead off the 6th for the Tigers. Ryan was talking about the Texas Lutheran series coming up this weekend. And Texas Lutheran currently playing up in Belton against Mary Hardin Baylor. So that one hit at the shortstop, and that'll roll through. That'll go as an error. So Meredith now 0 for 2, but he's on base. And that could be the most important thing here for Trinity as they get the leadoff man on. The Texas Lutheran Bulldogs currently leading UMHB by a score of 11 to 1. Elsewhere in the SCAC, it was UT Dallas knocking off Southwestern by a score of 9 to 6. University of Dallas split a doubleheader with Howard Payne. Hardin Simmons was all over Schreiner 15 to 2. And game here in San Antonio between the Saints and the Tigers, the only other SCAC contest, and a little deja vu as that one's going to go just past the shortstop as well. So we'll have to get a good look at the scoring sheet and the official ruling on that one there.
Kastner, the shortstop, looks so solid early on. Man, that's 2 straight that you feel like was definitely in his range. Probably should have had that one there from Goodrich, but the Tigers will take it in such a close game. Every base runner counts, and having 2 on with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th. And Brandon Caraway, who laid down the excellent sac bunt that allowed Mason Meredith to score on the throwing error, is coming up to the plate. We'll see if he's going to face Ryan Ramsey. He'll be a new pitcher for the Saints.
Yeah, you mentioned Texas Lutheran falling down to number 8 in the country. They dropped a game to University of Wisconsin-Platteville over the weekend. They took the series 2 games to 1. It's going to be an interesting season here in conference play. Of course, Tigers jumped out to a 3-0 conference record by sweeping the Crusaders up in Irving.
Yeah, if you just want to look at last season, the matchup between the Bulldogs and the Tigers, it was pretty much split as the Tigers won the series in the regular season, but when it came down to the conference tournament, Bulldogs emerged victorious 6-3. That's the one that ended up being pivotal, especially for the Tigers as they bowed out of the tournament.
As runners will advance there as that ball gets away from the catcher. Ramsey a little wild. And so now Caraway's got a chance to swing away with 2 in scoring position. That'll change things. Yeah, last year, of course, we talk about Texas Lutheran. They made the championship series, falling to American Southwest Conference foe, University of Texas Tyler. Of course, Trinity not able to be a part of the party, ranked number 1 till the final regular season poll, and then not getting a regional bid. Of course, the West typically only getting 6 teams in. UT Tyler got a bid to go to I believe it was the South region where they won and then advanced into the College World Series. So there were 2 West region teams representing last year at the CWS, and an opportunity for a couple of teams to show their way. The West region has been particularly strong here the last couple of years. Of course, Trinity winning in 2016, Cal Lutheran winning in 2017, and then 2 teams making the final series, Texas Lutheran and UT Tyler, last year, with UT Tyler taking it all. So Caraway down on strikes. It'll be 1 down with 2 on, and kind of hope that if you're a Tiger fan, you don't feel like this is another situation where the Tigers are going to leave another runner on third base. John Tucker with the attempt now. And another big hack from Tucker. And, it's 0 for 2 today, 2-11 on the year. And the mentality that he has is he's going to go up there swinging as hard as he can. And we'll see how that's going to pay off.
Tigers have already left 2 runners stranded on third base. That last strikeout, the umpire really took a good long look at it before calling Caraway back to the dugout.
The breaking ball is going to drop in now. 0-2 from Ramsey. After Tucker, Tigers still have Vonderhaar. Vonderhaar with a couple of big hits in his career so far, and that's a nice shot up the middle by John Tucker. The infield was playing in, and that's going to go as a 2 RBI single for John Tucker.
Let's hope that starts the John Tucker of the early season, as he's found his way back into the RBIs there. Back into the hits in general. He's struggled recently, and he's made amends there as he puts the Tigers ahead.
Yeah, and a great job by Tucker. And those are the sort of hits that I think, when you can't get it going, a nice little line drive on the ground up the middle looks just as good as a 2-run homer. A 2-run single like that does the job, puts the Tigers back out in front. And that gives Vonderhaar a chance now with 1 down. That one lifted into the outfield, and that'll go into center. And it'll be caught out in right center and trying to double up Tucker, but he's able to get back.
Yeah, as they say, there's no pictures on the score sheet. However the runs get across, however the RBIs get into your tally, you'll take them. Certainly the case for John Tucker.
Yeah, and a good lift there from Vonderhaar. You take that as a solid shot and not able to find the gap. He keeps hitting the ball like that, he'll start to find where that gap is going to be and drop it in between the 2 outfielders.
It's going to be Wisniewski now, whose 2 at-bats have come as the leadoff hitter in the 3rd and last time in the 5th. Both of those went for doubles. Tigers would take another one here for an insurance run, perhaps, if they could find the gap.
Yeah, Wisniewski's found each of the gaps so far. He hit his first one out into left center, and then his second one was into right center. So we'll see if we can. If there's not another gap out there that he can find, maybe he can lay one down the line. Something down the right field line should be enough for Tucker to come around.
Sure, there's a gap between a couple of the cars out there over the right center field wall.
There's always those gaps.
Actually, not sure. The parking hasn't been particularly kind recently on campus. There may not be any gaps out there.
It was just a couple of years ago that Our Lady of the Lake and Trinity played. Well, typically they play every year, and typically they play a lot of close games. But a couple of years ago, Tigers were down to their last at-bat. A massive hailstorm was approaching. And the Tigers pretty much knew, hey, swing for the fences, try to end this thing because we've got a storm coming that's going to postpone the game. And it was Jeremy Wolf with a walk-off shot that gave the Tigers the victory.
He said the cars are already going to get damaged by the hail.
The hail's coming anyway. Might as well, And the hail we had that day was about the same effect as a baseball. Car still with a couple of huge dents in it. It just adds character.
See, I was safely in the Dallas area for that storm, Josh. As that one comes off the mound again. The mound has come into play defensively 3 times already now. Now to go down as an infield single. Nothing the defense can do besides watch it hang up in the air. As Wisniewski is now 3 for 3. And Logan Morrison has a chance to keep the inning alive offensively.
Yeah, Wisniewski enjoying that was given the base hit, and rightfully so.
Rafe Chamet's single also came off the mound in the first inning. Morrison has a couple of walks and a line out back in the 3rd. Officially 0 for 1, but the on-base percentage has been enjoying his night out. And Lopez tried to frame that one without the ball in his glove. Probably not going to help your case there if you're the catcher. He signals to the defense with 2 outs here, how they want to play it.
Yeah, 2 outs and runners on the corners for Morrison. Had himself a pretty solid little weekend. He's got the average over 300 now. Pretty respectably up over 300. As we'll look at 2-0. We'll have to get some of the viewers from out in the West Coast to help us clarify, because I've always been under the impression that it was Temecula, California. Our honorary and revered PA announcer, James Hill, has been announcing it all season long as Temecula. So maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe somebody tried to get something past James and gave him the, hey, no, it's pronounced Temecula. But either way, if you're out on the West Coast and you've got any answers, feel free to hit us up at Trinity U Tigers on Twitter. And let us know.
Be surprised if any contrary information comes in. I'm pretty sure Temecula makes the most sense.
That was ripped down the line into left field, and that will score another for the Tigers as Tucker comes around and makes it 4-1, and an RBI single for Logan Morrison. Well, no matter how you say where he's from, he's found a home here, and the senior from California has gotten the Tigers back out in front, and I think now you can say it's kind of comfortably in front with a 3-run lead.
Yeah, absolutely. With the way, particularly Matt Thomas has been able to work out of jams, albeit he's created the jams. It's limited the Saints to just the 1 run so far. They've left quite a few runners out there as well. They've left 7. But their inability to score runs has led to the position we're in now, where the Tigers do have that comfortable 3-run lead.
And we'll shift back to the middle part of the country, and that's where we snatched Jake Martin from, coming down from Edmond, Oklahoma. The nice thing about Trinity is you can always say coming down from just about anywhere, because it's the furthest south Division III school in the entire country.
I know with the soccer team we have one this season from Mexico.
Yes, so for soccer, you've got the opportunity for a lot of coming up, with Paul McGinley taking a lot of talent out of Central and South America on a regular basis, and pulling some from the Rio Grande Valley as well. That one floated over. And on a jog was Mitchell able to track it down. And they're going to call a balk, I believe, so both of the runners will advance.
Yeah, second time we've seen this. Earlier it was amidst the confusion of the dog barking. This time I think perhaps Ramsey, who's still getting used to being out there on the mound, the traditional outfielder, may have just got something wrong there. The umpire
I think when he
spotted it.
I think when he turned to throw, he expected somebody to be there, and then when Mitchell wasn't there on first covering, just a slight little hesitation on it. Either way, it's 2nd and 3rd now for the Tigers. So an opportunity for Martin. Get a couple of RBIs with a hit.
Martin with 2 runners on had a big 3-run shot last season in the matchup between these two. He wouldn't mind it again. It would blow the game wide open here in the 6th. Came in as a 1-1 game. It's going to leave with at least a 3-run deficit for the Saints. As Ramsey steps off once again. Can't afford another balk that would score Wisniewski over at 3rd.
Nice breaking ball from Ramsey to get out of the inning. And Martin will be down on strikes, but the Tigers were able to capitalize on a 2-run single from John Tucker, who later came around and scored with Logan Morrison driving him in. They score 3 here in the bottom of the 6th. They have their first lead of the game at 4-1. And we'll be back for the 7th inning here in just a moment.
Be Ryan Chapa here to lead off, showing bunt against Matt Thomas. And Thomas will start the count out in front here. 0-1. Chapa has 2 strikeouts already. And with the way that Matt Thomas has been able to rack the Ks up so far in this appearance, wouldn't be surprised to see a third for Saints second baseman. Instead, he's going to shoot this one over to third base. Tucker with a fairly simple throw across the diamond, and the Tigers will go around the horn quick as they can, as they have one down rather quickly here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, now 3 innings officially for Thomas. He's given up just the 1 hit. Tigers only given up 2 here today. We were talking in the break that what's been impressive was Crane, going 3 1/3, giving up just the 1 hit and the earned run. But Thomas coming in, giving up just the 1 hit, and for a Tuesday game, you're facing a quality opponent here with Our Lady of the Lake. They've got players who are very highly skilled.
Yeah, haven't had the same offensive output as the Tigers have this season. That's not to be expected from really anyone, as of course the Tigers come in ranked number 1 in the country. But like you said, there is talent there, and even the Tigers have hit up to now a bit under their average. If you want to go just off the averages, it's an 8-4 game. Of course, those stats have been accrued in different divisions and across quite a few more games for the Saints than the Tigers.
Yeah, we usually play a 2-game series over the course of the year with Our Lady of the Lake, usually Tuesday or midweek type of games. There'll be a 5-pitch walk for Rodriguez. And typically every year, Our Lady of the Lake and Trinity, there was a span for about 4 or 5 years where every game played between the two teams was typically a 1 or a 2-run game, with the losing team having the winning run, at least in scoring position, if not at third base, or at least a tying run at third base. And that was probably about a 4 or 5 year consecutive streak there for that.
Yeah, apologies, forgot to mention there, it was Noah Rodriguez coming in first year to pinch hit for TJ Kastner, who had a little bit of difficulty on the fielding end of things in the last inning. He's now taken a seat, and Rodriguez is taking up a position over on first after the walk. Yeah, to your point, the first game last season ended with a save for the Tigers in relief with a 4-2 final score. The April 23rd matchup got blown open by the Jake Martin 3-run homer. Otherwise, it would have been close as well.
And that April 23rd matchup was the beginning of the end for the Tigers. They came out the next day, played McMurray. McMurray had a guy who hadn't pitched a whole lot and basically shut the Tigers down, and that started the tailspin for the Tigers. Went out and dropped a 3-game set. I believe they won 1 of the 3 games against Centenary, and then couldn't find their way in the conference tournament, and then sent home 33-9 overall in the season. Looking to avoid that this year. That one floats into the outfield.
That was an excellent pitch to throw down on for Goodrich. Just sailed on him, as maybe Matt Thomas knew. Maybe he just missed the strike zone. Either way, it was at chest height for the catcher as he popped up, unable to catch Rodriguez, the pinch hitter.
Holov with an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. They're going to hold the runner back at third. They probably would have scored him, but with one down, they've got runners at the corners, so the tying run to the plate now for the Saints.
Yeah, third base coach there opting to play it safe. You know, one run doesn't get you back into the game. No point in risking getting that second out.
I'll bring up Jose Diaz. Diaz has been hit by a pitch twice, and he struck out in his other appearance. But before we get to Diaz, looks like Goodrich is going to take a slow walk out to the mound. And let me take a guess here. Goodrich will start to walk back. He'll get halfway there, and then the Tigers will send their pitching coach out to make a change. Now, they don't even need Goodrich to walk out this time.
Yeah, Thomas has been effective in getting himself out of some jams, but I feel like the time was right, and I think he did as well. He was eager to hand over the ball and say, somebody else get me out of this. And that somebody else has arrived.
Yeah, we'll check up on Carter Frank here in just a moment. As the Tigers have runners at the corners, or excuse me, the Saints have runners at the corners here in the top of the seventh, one down.
It's going to be Carter Frank in relief for the Tigers. He comes in a semi-pressure situation. Runner on third. There's a 3-run lead. Runner on first as well. One down here in the top of the seventh. Frank has 2 appearances so far, as you can see on your screen. He's gone 2 2/3, given up just 2 hits and recorded 4 strikeouts. His latest appearance came in the second game of the series at Dallas. No appearances in either his freshman or sophomore year, so it's Frank looking to make a name for himself here in this Tuesday night outing. Certainly wouldn't do any harm getting out of this jam for Tim Scannell's team.
And Diaz looking to just keep the pitch out over the middle of the plate, not have it right up on him again. Already been hit twice today.
Yeah, really wasn't pleased, visibly upset after getting hit the second time. I wouldn't want to get hit by anything moving that fast either. And he's absolutely crushed this ball, but it's going to be right at Rafe Shamet. The runner is going to tag and score here. And I think that will be a trade-off the Tigers will take as Frank gets the sac fly. And the lead is cut to 2, but there are 2 outs now in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, that'll work out well for Trinity. That run be charged against Matt Thomas. I think still a really solid inning for Thomas, or outing for Thomas.
It's like another pinch hitter here instead of Daniel Asisco. It looks like number 7, who is Jorge Collazo Jr. He's a sophomore, native of San Antonio, went to Johnson High School. Hit .250 in his freshman year, appeared in 36 games, so played a significant role. Not sure what's exactly going on, but mile off over at first looked quite comfortable there in that seated position. So far this year, Collazo yet to record a hit. He's got a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts in 14 at-bats. And there's his first hit as that one evades John Tucker over at third. And they're now 2 on with 2 out. And just a 2-run deficit here for the Saints. Collazo, the pinch hitter, does just what head coach Brian Ari wanted him to do, and that's get on base, extend the inning.
So now the go-ahead run to the plate for the Saints. And these games typically start to get a little bit more scoring as they get deeper into it.
And Matthew Clark now going to be replaced as well, as the pinch hitters come out in full force here for Brian Ari, the head coach. It's Monteano, the freshman infielder, also San Antonio native from Brandy High School, and has not recorded a hit at the collegiate level yet. He scored a run after walking, and he's got 7 plate appearances in his career. They've pulled who, based off average, was their best hitter so far, and it's going to be Tucker who struggled to come up with it. And we'll see how that one scored, as it was a shot right at the third baseman. And Monteano beats it out for what's most likely going to be, we'll see how it's scored actually, I'm not sure.
So he definitely beat it out. We'll go back to the hit at first. It's a hard shot. Tucker went for the backhand on it. Can't really blame him there. A little hop on him. It'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't imagine that they give Tucker the error for that. That was a hard hit ball right at him.
Yeah, looks like they have. So Monteano's still yet to record a collegiate hit, but he's done his job there as a pinch hitter. And Carter Frank will feel he hasn't done his. He did record an out, but he's left the bases loaded for the next man. And it's going to be Mark Tyndall, a familiar face, returns to the mound for the Tigers. Familiar face for the Saints as well. In last season's matchup, he went 6 scoreless innings in a start when they won 7-2. So you see stellar start to the season for the junior pitcher for the Tigers, and really they need 1 out from him here with the bases loaded.
Yeah, it's going to be a high-pressure situation for a guy who started a couple of games, but he's also looked really effective out of the bullpen. And just another outing for Tyndall, who I think is starting to give his brother a run for Best Tyndall as a Tiger here.
It's a very exclusive award, the Best Tyndall as a Tiger award.
Well, his brother was pitcher for the Angels organization for a little bit after his career here at Trinity wrapped up. And Matt was also the first Tiger to get a victory at the College World Series back in 2015 for the Tigers. He had quite a few regional wins along the way, but first one to get the victory at the CWS.
Of course, Dr. Jacob Tingle narrowly misses out on that award. Just a few letters away, really.
Few letters and a little bit of talent off on the mound. I don't know if we can give Dr. Tingle the job here. Now, I take this to the hardwood. He might have himself a shot. So Martinez will step in. Martinez, 1 for 2. First pitch of the strike.
Yeah, surprised to see head coach Brian Ari doesn't continue with his luck rolling out pinch hitters. He's had 3. They've all reached base. One of them came around to score as well. Tyndall's hat has been a continuous struggle throughout the year.
We find like a little pin to put in there or something.
I think we should just keep a counter on the screen how many times he loses his hat.
We had a situation where he lost his hat 4 times while warming up a couple of weeks ago. They brought him out a new hat, and then he proceeded to lose that one a few times. But he got the strikeout he needed to end the inning, so maybe this is a good sign for Tiger fans. Martinez looking to tie the game with a base hit here. He'll draw the Saints within 1 if he takes a walk, and it's 2-2 now.
I think there's something about having one of your aces, one of your big pitchers on the mound that inspires a bit of confidence, not just in the defense, but in the dugout as well. We'll see if Tyndall's able to live up to a standard he set for himself. It's sent foul. And it's very much a nervy situation with the bases loaded in a 2-run game, but it seems like everyone over in the dugout perfectly calm, trusting in their junior on the mound. Except maybe Matt Thomas, maybe Carter Frank, a bit concerned about their ERA.
2-2. Foul back. Tyndall averaging just a shade over strikeout an inning. 32 on 30.2 innings of work. The count runs full.
Will the hat falling to the turf be a good or bad omen here for the Tigers? Haven't kept track so far.
Just get him a helmet at this point.
Maybe a chin strap.
A little chin strap, tie it down.
Maybe a haircut. Could help as well.
Mid-season hair right there. So that one lofted it into the outfield. And going back on it is Meredith. And Tigers, with the help of Mark Tyndall, come in and get out of a jam with the bases loaded. It's stretch time here in San Antonio. Tigers holding to a 2-run lead. We'll be back for the bottom half in just a moment.
going to be Joey Baker in relief for the Saints here. Native of Cuero, Texas, graduate of Cuero High School.
And the former Gobbler will take on Rafe Schmidt as the former Ranger steps in from Samuel Clements, or Sugar Land, Texas, Clements High School.
Not a lot of appearances across Baker's career. He's a junior now. He's appeared in 8 games so far this year, 9 as a sophomore and 4 as a freshman. Career ERA sits at 7.5, but this year he's been significantly better than that with a 2.51 mark, 2-0 record as well. Sidearm delivery, without a doubt.
Schmidt just 1 for 3 today. He has looked good over the weekend. He'll take a walk, and he's on base for the second time today.
I think we've got a new thing to watch out for. The man on the mound, it was Tyndall's hat. I think it's the necklace for Baker. It's swung around to his back a couple of times and bothered him already. Just keep an eye out on that.
So with Schmidt on first, that'll bring up Meredith. Meredith's been on base and scored twice today, but unconventionally. Got hit by a pitch, and then he reached on an error. That'll be a called strike.
Yeah, it looked like he was looking to lay down the bunt, maybe get the Tigers back out in front by 3 where they feel a bit more comfortable. Of course, this is, to a certain extent, unfamiliar territory for many of the Saints players. Throughout the year, and about half of their contests, like I mentioned early on, they've only played 7 innings. So coming out for the bottom of the 7th, say, well, maybe they expected the game to be over. On their website, much to my confusion before the game, they actually had this game listed as a 7-inning contest as well. Of course, it isn't. Otherwise, the Tigers wouldn't be batting at the moment. This one's going to be sent down the line and just to the left of third base. Count stays at 0-2 though.
And Meredith's other at bat, his first of the day, he popped up to short. Tigers just about the halfway point of the regular season. It's always interesting to see how teams handle being given that number 1 ranking, as Meredith will be down on strikes, foul tip into the glove. Lopez able to put it away. Be 1 down. And we see this a lot with soccer as well. The team reached number 1. Last year's team, I thought, actually handled themselves really well. They were number 1 for about 6 weeks before the wheels came off. It'll be interesting to see what Trinity has, especially with a tough series against Texas Lutheran coming up. That one through the middle, or through the hole between short and third, and Goodrich has his 3rd single of the day.
And joins Wisniewski in the 3-hit club. Like you mentioned, with that big TLU series on the horizon, I think it's important that the Tigers see this one out and they have a bit of confidence. Obviously, Tyndall's built a bit of confidence after making that relief appearance. He'll probably get a start in that series. With the number 8 versus number 1 matchup, you can afford to drop a game, but you definitely want to win the series in order to hold on to that top spot. And like you said, it'll be interesting to see if the Tigers feel extra pressure. I think playing at home is certainly a comfort that the Tigers have the luxury of throughout the majority of the season. That will aid them in their quest to hold on to that spot. But like we saw, it doesn't really mean all that much when it comes down to it. It's all about winning the conference and making sure that There's no way that you can be left out with an automatic bid.
Yeah, and that easier said than done here in the SCAC, where I feel like every year there's 3 very capable teams. In the past couple of years, it's been Centenary, Texas Lutheran, and Trinity, all very capable of making their way, as Seth Jones will be pinch hitting for Caraway. And this year, I think you need to add Southwestern to the mix. They've struggled in their last couple of games, but overall this season, they've looked really good, both pitching and hitting-wise. And of course, Southwestern getting a win last season at the conference tournament. Ex-Tiger assistant J.C. Bunch has the program looking in the right direction. Also looking in the right direction is the locks on Seth Jones.
I've seen quite a few on the Saints team as well, boasting.
Yeah, you've got a great matchup here between Baker and Jones.
And so some would say a match akin to Samson and Delilah in biblical times, whose hair will prevail.
Big cut from Jones.
Shamet certainly capable of scoring from most places if the ball finds a hole here. He stands on second. He would be an insurance run for the Tigers, who have a 2-run lead. But we saw the Saints load the bases to no avail in the top of this inning. Won't feel comfortable with just the 2 runs. And Jones's hair loses out there. He'll head back to the bench.
So 2 down. And scheduled was Tucker. He'll be stepping in now.
Would love to see another hit here for Tucker and give him something to build off of going into that big TLU series. He had the big 2-run RBI single last time up to the plate. Facing a very different pitcher in Baker, taking the very similar swing like he tends to do there. You have to think, if and when he makes contact with that type of swing, we've already seen him get his first career home run this year. It's going to be tough to stop. It's going to be headed for the fence without a doubt. It's just a matter of making that contact, and is the trade-off worth it swinging for the fences on the first pitch like that?
Lopez trying to will his battery mate an 0-2 count. Can't quite get it there, and it'll be 1-1 for Tucker.
One
2-1.
Came way inside there on Tucker. He's now ahead in the count. 2 outs. So we get official word from a former Temecula native through the wire that it is indeed Temecula. So that case can be settled. We'll let him know up in the booth.
Glad we can crack the day's mysteries here today.
Still yet to settle the winner of this one. And a John Tucker hit could go a long way in doing so. Instead, it's going to fall to a full count. So there's another swing and a miss from the Tiger third baseman.
Well, he got his 2 RBI single on a count with 2 strikes. Definitely capable of standing in there and finding his zone. Instead, he'll take the walk. That'll load him up. As Vonderhaar is due up. It'll be lefty-lefty if they stay with Vonderhaar, so I'll be curious to see if they go to the bench here again. Might be part of the delay. And it looks like they have. It'll be Blake Johnson, who had himself a pretty decent little weekend. Running his season average up to 313. For Johnson, I think the message here has to be pretty simple. Don't try to do too much. Just put the barrel on the ball and see what happens.
Yeah, particularly the note for Johnson. The second game of the series, the 9-2 victory over Dallas. He went 3 for 5, scored a run, had a double, and 4 RBI for the first year. So looking to replicate some of that form here with the bases loaded and 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. Was unable to get a hit in either of the other games of the series, but that one stands out. Also the game against Milliken. Grabbed an RBI on a couple of hits. So if we want to look at it just purely on pattern, he's due here for a couple of RBI.
First pitch misses 4, ball 1.
I think it has to feel good too as a first year. You feel the coach's confidence here as you get in that bat as a pinch hitter with the bases loaded. He could have gone to anyone on the bench. Dallas Bender, senior, his experience, he was an option. There's plenty of options on the bench, and they've chosen to go with Johnson here after his recent performances, and that'll make him feel like he's doing something right. He's going to loft this one into the outfield, and it won't work out for him this time, but he made solid contact, and with 2 outs, that won't be enough as the Tigers still hold on to the 2-run lead. There's 2 innings left here in San Antonio on the Tiger Network. The Mark Tyndall continuing on the mound for the Tigers here as they hold on to a 2-run lead against Our Lady of the Lake in the top of the 8th. Tyndall came on with the bases loaded in the 7th and was able to get a big fly out to get out of the jam. This one is going to be chopped over to Morrison, and it's a routine play. And Seth Jones now covering over at first. And that was all Tyndall was scheduled to do, I believe, was just the 1 inning anyway. So he goes 2/3, gets 2 outs, and we'll see who comes in perhaps to close this one out. So after a bit of a stash check from his battery mate Goodrich, Brian Cardone comes in to perhaps try and see this one out. He's got 5 outs to get. Comes in with the 2-run lead. Believe that's a potential save situation, Josh?
Yeah, it would be a save situation if he can close this one out. That one will float up into the air, and Meredith will be underneath it. It'll be 2 down here, top of the 8th.
Can't ask for much more from your first pitch coming in relief. Of course, he had the outing earlier on where his first pitch was much less fortunate. He came in, threw one pitch, double down the line, and he was pulled. So a change of fortune here for the Tiger Jr. He's played just as much in the infield as he has as a pitcher. 6 appearances in the field and 6 appearances, I believe, as a pitcher. He had a start against Endicott. Only went 1 2/3 in that one. But he does the job here in the 8th as he retires the side with the help of Mark Tyndall. And the Tigers will look to take what hopefully is their final cuts here coming up in the bottom of the 8th. So the Tigers going to get a look at what the Saints hope will be a mainstay in their pitching rotation for the near future here. It's freshman Brett Vasquez. Baytown, Texas native, has 7 appearances so far in his freshman campaign. He's given up 2 runs, neither of which were earned, so his ERA sits at 0. And despite that, he has a 0-1 record as a pitcher at the collegiate level. He's going to have to play some defense here, and he does cover well. He'll start to fire the ball around the side. That's the first time Wisniewski's failed to reach. He's 3 for 4.
You know, after that 7th inning took forever, we've seen the last 3 batters, 2 for the Saints and Wisniewski there for the Tigers, retired on just 3 pitches.
That's exactly what Vasquez would have drawn up. So Logan Morrison, the Temecula native, digs in for the first time when we have assurance. How do you say? Vasquez goes high there with the heat and quickly is ahead in the count here, 0-2. And
That
he's
was a
going to
really
be
nice
rung up
pitch.
there. 3 pitches for Vasquez, 4 total, and he's recorded a strikeout and a ground out. He's been very effective in relief.
I know Logan's not going to like this pitch, as it is just a touch outside. But from what we've seen most of the year, that is a 2-pitch or a 2-strike called strike 3 most of the time. As Jake Martin steps in.
Struggled a bit today. He's the only Tigers yet to record a hit. Has a couple of strikeouts, fielder's choice, and a flyout.
Yeah, and not saying that last pitch was a strike, but we see it called here fairly often.
Continuously brought up Martin's big 3-run home run from the last time these two teams met, in hopes that perhaps he could replicate it.
He found his home run swing over the weekend as well.
Seemed like the stars had been aligning.
He's just getting ready. But so far yet to go deep today.
Tigers will hope this is his last opportunity to do so. 2-2 pitch here with 2 gone. And it's in the dirt. The appeal down first base line. The umpire is having none of it. So the count runs full.
Yeah, we don't have this view right here set up on our replay. So we can't get a good look at a check swing for that, but looked like he held up.
This one's going to be flown out into center field. It's going to get over the center fielder's head, who looked like he may have misjudged it. And Martin's going to be in with a stand-up triple. So after a night where he had a difficulty at the plate, seemed to rediscover his stroke there. And the center fielder seemed to never discover the ball. Came in initially, and then it went over his head. So a chance for Ray Shamet to pad a bit of insurance on this one and put his season average maybe back over 400 as well. Extend his team lead in RBIs. All kinds of opportunities here for the Tigers left fielder. He's gone 1 for 3 with a walk as well.
Yeah, he's picked a really good time to sort of break out of the shell. He had wouldn't say a slow start, but he had a auspicious start, and then went down with just a slight nagging injury that sidelined him for a couple of games, and then kind of kept him out of the everyday position lineup. DH'd a few times, pinch hit a few games, but you don't really get a good feel for the game when you just walk up to the plate every 45 minutes or so. And so I think that they've intentionally walked him here instead of throwing that 4th pitch. I don't like that rule because you can't tell. You just have to assume that's what it is. So it'll be a walk for Shamet. And
regardless, I think it was probably the right call. You don't want to see, as a Saints fan, Ray Shamet on a green light.
yeah, you don't want to see him have a 3-0 pitch or even a 3-1 pitch to look at. That's just an uphill battle for Vasquez. I think you're better off trying to, even though Meredith's not much of a discount, trying to get him out. He's hitting 382 currently, and he's 0 for 3 today. Came in at 392. It's not like you're walking a guy to get to the lesser hitter, but at the same time, you also don't want to give yourself no options for mistake against Shamet, who can drive just about anything you throw within 6 to 8 inches of the strike zone.
Goodrich waiting on deck as well. So in this heart of the Tiger order, you're hard-pressed to find anyone that you want to face if you're an opposing pitcher.
I'll be honest, if it goes 3-0 against Meredith, you might see them do it again. Just see if they can find Vasquez something. That will be fouled back.
Vasquez took 4 pitches to retire 2 batters. And since it's been an uphill battle after his, I'm not going to say it was an error on the center fielder, but certainly a misjudged ball went over his center fielder's head. Now he's working with runners at the corners, trying to get out of this 8th inning.
Each team up just a pitch away from something big. I'm going to say he went. That'll be strike 2. Scooting down to second will be Shamet.
So that takes the force off of second base. And that is a rope into center field. That is going to score 1. Shamet, who was positioned on second, was probably keen to try and force it. But with the velocity of that ball off the bat of Meredith, there was no way he wasn't going to at least have a play at the plate had he gone home. Instead, it'll just be the 1 RBI from Meredith and a bit of comfort for the Tigers as they extend the lead back out to 3.
And runners back at the corners for the Tigers for Goodrich. For Goodrich, it's been a little bit of a while since we've seen him go yard. I'm not saying I'm trying to will a bombs away for Bombay gift card to be drawn at some point today, but
if you want to put in the call, Josh, go ahead and do it.
He's already 3 for 4, so he's seeing the ball really well. Vasquez has been a little bit inconsistent. That was the pitch right there.
Absolutely, he missed it. I was going to mention maybe with Vasquez, his bill is angled over his eyes. Maybe he's just not seeing the ball well. Interesting way to wear the traditional baseball cap for the freshman on the mound.
Nice breaking ball to make it 0-2.
They'd have to look back towards the runner, not fooling anyone. You can't see him. You just can't. But he's ahead in the count here, 0-2. Formidable task of retiring Goodrich with a runner in scoring position. Needs one more good pitch, and Goodrich will make him offer up another one. Saw Goodrich have the at-bat where he put the bat on the ball 8 times before finally straightening one out for a single. Just needs to put it on once here. The runner on third.
Tried to change the elevation there. We'll see if with 1-2 he comes back with maybe a curveball down in the dirt. Wouldn't be surprised to see Tigers maybe try to take off and run here. Meredith over at first with pretty good speed. He stays and the pitch is in. Make it 2-2.
Yeah, I believe Meredith already has this stolen base. No, he doesn't, but he is attracting a lot of attention earlier on in the game when he had reached first on a walk. Count runs full. The runners will be going here with 2 outs. That adds another dimension for Vasquez to think about. Really all he needs to do is retire Goodrich, but there's distractions to his left, distraction to his right.
And he misses high. That'll load the bases.
That looked like it was right in the wheelhouse for Goodrich, who instead opted to take a free base. I think if you see a bit more of a lopsided score, he might be taking a hack at that one. The game's still relatively close here. We'll see if Vasquez is going to remain out on the mound. Chance for redemption for Seth Jones. He came in and struck out as a pinch hitter in the 7th. We'll get a better opportunity, and with the bases loaded.
An opportunity for Jones to just blow this game wide open. He's got a run scored on the season, but he's yet to get an RBI. So still looking for his first of the year. Would also be the first of his career, just the 12th appearance for the junior. Takes inside for strike one.
Pitching coach heads back to the dugout wondering, all right, you did what I told you that time. Can't you do it every time? Finds the strike zone again.
Well, he did this with Goodrich, too. He got out ahead nice and easy. 0-2, and then danced around. I wonder if they'll attack straight at Jones for this one. As they caught it off the foul tip, and that will be it.
So the Tigers add one run of insurance, but they leave the bases loaded. We'll hope that they don't rue the missed chance there as Jones goes down swinging, and we come into the 9th inning here on the Tiger Network. So to close out what would be a save, it is Brian Cardone now working with a 3-run lead. But when he came in, the tying run was on deck, which is the qualification for that save stat. So the famous mustache of the juniors back on the mound.
Yeah, through 2 pitches, got 2 outs. Rodriguez will let the first one reach Goodrich.
Rodriguez, one of 3 pinch hitting substitutions that paid dividends for the Saints. He reached through a walk, came around to score. Collazo Jr. singled. And Monteano reached on an error. So all three underclassmen, all three pinch hitters, all three reached base. And they look to have maybe sparked a bit of offensive outbreak for the Saints, but it was cut short when Mark Tyndall relieved in the 7th. As that one's popped straight up by Rodriguez. It's going to be a fairly simple play made by Meredith, who's now recorded 3 straight outs for the Tigers. I know you love that stat, Josh.
You know, we gotta have the numbers. How many outs, 8th or 9th inning, has Meredith made? Because I feel like he's done at least 10%, if not maybe 15 to 20, which as a center fielder is high.
So with 2 outs left in their lives of this game here, it's Mieloff for the Saints. Follow him, it will be Diaz. Unless they go to the bench once again. Cardone behind early in the count here, 2-0.
Struggling just a little bit here. Maybe a 4-pitch walk.
It's rather strange considering what he'd done in this appearance so far. All he done was get 3 straight outs. Maybe he was just setting up a nice double play to end the game here. It's going to be Jose Diaz. Had a sac fly his last time up. Has been hit by 2 pitches and struck out. Officially 0 for 1, but it's been an eventful day for the center fielder.
Tigers with 5 saves on the season out of 15 wins.
Yeah, Loneker usually the one they go to in the high pressure situations. Less so here with Cardone. They have faith in him to close this one out. Of course, when he came in, it was only a 2-run game.
Yeah, Loneker with 3 on the year. Corey Cater has the other 2. So Cardone looking to join the group.
All he needs is 2 outs here in the 9th. But if you ask, say, Carter Frank, it's easier said than done. Struggled in his outing in this one. And that one's going to be lined. And there was a chance there for the double play ball, but he got past Wisniewski instead. It's going to end up being runners at 2nd and 3rd. And what a change in fortune there. It looked like maybe it hopped in front of Wisniewski instead of a potential double play to end the game. The tying run is instead up at the plate.
Take a look at that one again. Wisniewski got to it and then just rolled underneath his glove. Didn't get the hop he expected. And that was going to allow runners to advance. And it's also going to be the end of the day for Cardone. So he goes from a potential save if the Tigers roll the double play to taking a no decision and coming in to try to get his 3rd save of the year will be Corey Cater. Cater on the year, 25 2/3 innings pitched, He's given up 18 hits, 8 runs, but just 6 of those earned. ERA stands at 2.10. Strikeouts are down a little bit. His Ks per 9 just a shade under 1 per inning at 8.77. 25 strikeouts on 25 and 2/3. 11th appearance, and we look into Ty Loneker as the team leader in saves. If we can get the Tigers out of this one.
Yeah, and for a game that was essentially humming along at a nice pace for the first 3 innings, we thought, could be a quick Tuesday night's work. Instead, the game has pretty much come to a screeching halt, and now it's about for the Tigers just getting it over the finish line.
Yeah, I think typical of a game against Our Lady of the Lake, these always seem to come down to the last at bat, and as I mentioned, had a pretty good stretch of games where the opposing team, even in taking a loss, has still had the tying run come to the plate or the winning run stand, at second base. It just seems fitting for the series between the two schools. Honestly, it's turned into a pretty fun little rivalry over the last couple of years, and maybe partly in the fact that it doesn't really mean a whole lot for either team as far as their season is concerned. It's more about two teams just going out there and playing for pride, and not a whole lot of teams here in San Antonio play each other. Got a couple of Division I schools, a Division II school, an AIA school, and a Division III school here in town, so not a whole lot of cross-playing going on. So you get a little bit of a chance to maybe take the upper hand as the best team record-wise in town. Of course, a couple of outstanding programs so far this year, UTSA and UIW both picking up big wins on a Tuesday night 2 weeks ago. Incarnate Word knocking off Texas A&M, and moments later, UTSA defeating University of Texas. That one rolled through the gap, and it'll bring in 2. Play at the plate's going to be offline, and so the tying run now on base. Those 2 runs will be charged against Cardone. It'll be an unfortunate situation for him. But Collazo brings in 2 and makes the score 5-4. The Saints are not going quietly into the night.
See if it's still Collazo. That was Collazo, excuse me. It's Monteano now. Still just 1 out here for the Saints. And if you are the Tigers, you're absolutely thinking about all the missed opportunities. 13 left on base throughout this one, including at least 3 left on third base. And now you're going to have to put your pitcher in a bit of a pressure cooker situation. The winning run is at the plate. Tying run over on first with just 1 down. If the Tigers were to throw this one away, you have to think they can't really blame anyone but themselves. The hitting with runners in scoring position has been a real struggle throughout the night. But no more so than Our Lady of the Lake, who's only got 5 hits here compared to the Tigers' 11. It's just weird reading in the box score right now. Cater, one of the guys that the Tigers rely on out of the pen. He's responsible for the runner at first now. And he's responsible for getting the Tigers over the line. Got to be careful with that move over to first. There's already been a couple of balks called against Saints pitchers to get it just right. This is another shot. This is a deep shot, and luckily for the Tigers, it's nowhere that Jake Martin can't go. That ball only probably a couple of yards away from the fence. So Monteano reaches on an air and then nearly gets a big hit. But he goes down as 0 for 2 off the bench. It's Alec Martinez now. He's played the entirety of the game. And he is 1 for 3. And he is the last hope here for Our Lady of the Lake. The tying run stationed at first. Excellent curveball from Cater. Important for him to get out in the count here, 0-1. There's a runner, and Goodrich opts to hold that one. The count is 0-2, though, for Martinez at the plate, and that's what really matters. Although, he's now the tying run in scoring position. Cater and the Tigers 1 pitch away. Martinez takes time to think about it. Cater looks in, checks the body signals from Goodrich, and he deals. And it's going to be chopped. A play is there to be made for Wisniewski. Can he make it? He fires across, and the Tigers sneak out 5-4 winners here in the crosstown matchup between the home team and Our Lady of the Lake University. And what turned out to be a very interesting contest. Like you said, it usually does in the end when these two schools match up. Final line really favors the Tigers offensively, but 13 left on for them, 11 left on for the Saints, who scored 4 on 5 hits, 2 errors apiece, and a save for Corey Cater. Josh, final thoughts as we head into a big weekend of both baseball and softball with TLU coming into town.
Yeah, for the baseball side of it, it's good to see guys starting to hit that mid-season stride. A couple of guys, Wisniewski and Goodrich, each with a 3-hit night tonight. You know, this hasn't typically been a high-scoring affair in the past, and so not surprising that this one was kind of kept down on the scoring end. It was good to see some of the guys come in and throw pretty effectively, gave up some runs, but, you know, they'll sleep well tonight with a pretty solid performance. Texas Lutheran is going to be tough. It should be a fantastic series. It's, you know, 2 top teams here in Division III. You know, you've got the defending national runners-up coming into town, and, you know, not only that, but you know, it's a conference rival. It's going to be high intensity just from that standpoint. So should be a lot of fun. And at the same time, you've got Texas Lutheran versus Trinity softball. I think for the first time in a long time, even though they're still very, very good, Texas Lutheran might look beatable. It's the first time I've seen them not just have 2 pitchers that are just going to mow you down for the entire time. So the softball team looking to make some ground and make some noise as well. Friday and Saturday should be a lot of fun. You know, we'll have that for you here, both of them. And you can tune in Friday, 5 o'clock for the softball game, 7 o'clock for the baseball game, and then we'll join you again on Saturday. I believe that's 1 o'clock for the softball match, and then 2 o'clock here for baseball. Both of those being doubleheader Saturday, single game for baseball on Friday. You know, the rest of it, just want to thank the student staff and all the tremendous work that they do here for Tiger Network. And thank everybody for tuning in. It's been fun. The Tigers hold after being ranked number 1 for the first time this year. So 1-0 at the top spot.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tigers move to 16-3, extend their winning streak to 9 as they'll play host to the TLU Bulldogs this coming weekend. For Our Lady of the Lake, they fall to 16-14, and we wish them best of luck for the rest of the season. For Josh and myself, Ryan Figert, you've been watching Tiger Network. Have a great night.